talking about self-esteem, and I know that over the years you have felt that disappointment has eaten away at your esteem, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. Over the last few years, I would say that disappointment has really been an overwhelming emotion for me, and all the feelings that come with it, like failure and rejection and anxiety, really affects my self-esteem. And suddenly in my mid-30s, when I had an expectation of meeting somebody, being chosen by somebody, and becoming a wife and a mum, when they didn't really happen, I suddenly felt like a failure, and it really affected me, and it suddenly took me to a place that I was like, oh, I didn't really know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to deal with these emotions, and so I ended up being in a really toxic relationship, and that further really affected my self-esteem and broke down my confidence. And because I wasn't really talking about things, and I wasn't telling my friends about it, and I was doing what I do best, which was put on a mask and pretend that everything was okay, I wasn't dealing with it. And so I suddenly put a wall up to keep up all these negative emotions, and I didn't realize that actually I was also putting a wall up and keeping out all the joy and happiness in my life.
Right.
And during this time, there were so many things that were good in my life, and I was buying my first flat, and things at work were amazing, and I just I couldn't celebrate that. I had no joy around it. I had no happiness, and it was a really hard tough time for me. And like I said, I've had to learn to manage my disappointments, and I've had to realize that the plan for my life is so much bigger than what my expectations are.
Yeah. With regards to your heart's desire, to be a wife and to be a mother, obviously within our circle of friends, in the last couple of years, a lot of our girlfriends have got engaged and have been married. Was that a sticky point for you? Was that difficult?
I don't think, I've always celebrated with my friends, and then, some friends around this table who, had weddings in that time, and I was happy for them, but I just didn't have any joy, for myself, and I suppose I was always not in the moment, not enjoying it. But I must admit now I have been able to celebrate. Recently good friends have got engaged, and lots of friends are having babies, and I definitely feel like I've got that joy back, and I can celebrate with them now.
For you, were you aware when the low self-esteem was, happening and eating away at you, and the disappointment was adding more and more to that low self-esteem? Were you fully aware of what was happening, or were you just so caught up in it that it just seemed like a dark hole and you weren't even sure why you felt the way you felt?
I think I was aware of it, but I think I was seeking my happiness in the wrong things, in external things, and so I definitely was aware that I was feeling, as I said, feeling rejected, feeling low, but I was maybe looking for my happiness in all the wrong things.
And was it a case of you had to go and explore all those wrong things to realise?
Maybe, and it's just from being really hurt, and then from really becoming quite depressed and feeling really depressed, and only through going to see Kat when why she's as a friend. I just went to see her. She was doing her practical, and I didn't realize actually by being quite vulnerable and speaking to her in a session, and it was about nutrition and things like that, but how much more than just eating right and exercising actually was going to help me, and how she sort of when I suddenly started speaking about things, then I realized, oh yeah, this has affected my self-esteem. This is really I needed to rest. I was trying to be busy all the time, and through being busy and running around and trying to find happiness through going out and trying to go and do online dating, trying to meet somebody. I was exhausted, and I was tired, and I wasn't looking after myself. I wasn't loving myself, and I was and then through just by resting and eating well and exercising and taking care of myself, I've started to build up my confidence and get myself back.
I've really seen that. I wonder, was there a significant moment where the shift happened for you? Was it helping Kat with her practical, because you were one of her case studies when she was studying to be a nutritional therapist? Was that the shifting point, or was it before that? I think
it was definitely then.
Because that's when you began to talk.
yes, and be open about it.
Was it difficult for you to talk?
It was difficult to be honest, and I think, especially like I said, I'm quite good at putting on a mask and pretending I'm okay, and people often still say to me, oh, I didn't realise you were struggling. So
Yeah. So what, if you don't mind me asking, like, why did you decide it was time to talk? It was time to stop putting the mask on?
I think I felt, by speaking up and, healing, there's healing in speaking and being vulnerable.
Thank you for sharing, Helen. And now?
Yeah, and I'm in such a best place, and just by having, eating well and being healthy and looking after myself and putting myself first, like they say, love yourself as much as you love your neighbour. And I think sometimes we're very good at loving everybody else.
Yeah.
And I think just in my love of teaching has really been restored too, and just that's allowed me to be creative again, to give back to the community, and to get out of my head a bit, and so
Thank you. If we were to encourage, say, for girls, if there was somebody watching today who something that one of you have said that maybe resonates with them, if we wanted to give them, say, a word of encouragement from our own experiences or a practical take home, Helen, what would yours be?
I'd say, it's okay to be disappointed in things, because life happens and things let you down and people let you down. But it's important not to, I think, attach your happiness to people and things. And also not to, become overwhelmed or consumed. Like I said, I was sort of consumed in one area of my life, and I, was disappointed, and it sort of robbed me of joy in every other area. So to not, not to dwell on things, and to, for me, I think also I realised that, writing things down and, speaking up and being honest and being real with myself and with my friends really helped.
Yeah.
So, now when I do feel, disappointment looming, I do pick up the phone, I need to hear that truth, and I do, and I just write things down and I remind myself, and so that's, been really healing and, relieve stress too.
That's great, thank you. Next time on the 7 series.
I just thought, am I only known for like my colour of my skin? It was just really difficult.
So many decent men around, yet I just had to chase down the bad boy, and I knew it was bad, and that was what was so exciting.
Then I look in the mirror and I'm like, do I have what they have? I'm like, come on, how do I get that really pert bottom? Like, that looks great.